love the sound of amp noise. Hey, Gear Geeks! Ta-da! Let me put that down there, right there. Let me get my cellular phone. Bam! Cellular phone. I play live. I don't edit or anything. Hey, but I wanted to check out this crate cabinet that you just heard me play through. Oh, and I played it with the Messy Boogie. And I used this crank pedal and this gate. That was it. And then my switcher is so cool with Z-Beat Buddy. But anyways, so the crate. Check this out. This is probably the best, well, not probably. This is the best crate cabinet ever built. It is the thicker wood. St. Louis, Missouri, USA. It says vintage 30 equipped. Crate. Vintage 30 equipped. 412 cabinet. I'm going to spin this around for our dining pleasure here. I realized I didn't have any lighting on. Let me spin this thing around here. So, here is the back of this cabinet. And like I said, it has the thicker wood. It said vintage 30 equipped. And Crate makes a vintage 30 and vintage 50 club speaker. Just to confuse people. And they had some of these. This is the B as in boy, V as in Victor crate cabinet from the mid-90s. So here is the serial number on this little thingamabopper. See the BV 412 RV. And that is the serial number. Trippy serial number, huh? Like this was the 6th one made ever. And if you look, it's the Voodoo valve, right? That was a cabinet series. The BV is for Blue Voodoo. And they had a Blue Voodoo valve amplifier, and then they had this cabinet, Blue Voodoo Rules. And this was on the back of it, this Marty Friedman. He was endorsing this Ozz-fest. I guess maybe he did a gig then in '98. Limited edition. Again, I think this is number 6. They usually do these categories like a 6,000 series, and then they start numbering them, so this would be number 6. I seen these same cabinets, but without the saying vintage 30 equipped. Now I open this thing up, and what's inside is vintage 30 pickup speakers, the English version of Celestron speakers. I went into Guitar Center, it had to be after '98, right? And it was before 2000, and I remember, I don't go in there very often and buying used gear, but I walked through one day, and every once in a while I get a hair. I didn't really buy a lot of gear in the past. I'd buy something and just stick with it. It was like set and forget type of person. Not no more. But it took me a while to get there, to understand that it's okay to have different stuff. My tone is really who I am anyways. But anyway, so I walked to the Guitar Center. I seen this cabinet for like $450, $500 with tax out the door here in California, eh? And I seen this. Doesn't say Celestron, but I asked the guys there, and they go no, and I wasn't able to actually even ask them a question. They just said no, it's the Crate speakers. And then I turned it around and I seen that plaque. I'm like, wow, do these guys even see this plaque? And they were so stuck up back then, like know-it-alls, and I just said whatever, I'll pick it up because it's a pretty cheap cabinet. And it's vintage 30s. They're really kick-ass vintage 30s in there. You hear me playing it, and it really sounds awesome. Now, it's not good for high gain, but it's really good for heavy metal, crunch, anything in that genre. I really wouldn't consider it a high gain cabinet. But isn't that interesting? So I was able to pick this thing up for real cheap. The guys were like, they would have asked for a lot more. It's a collector's item now. But there we go. I just wanted to show Gear Geeks this actually piece of really killer gear. And it's geeky. All right. Marty Friedman, Ozz-fest, 1998. Whoa! Later, Gear Geeks. Take care.